Welcome to the GTM Loop. I'm Angie Milano, and this is
Holly Glowaty. And we're talking about how to build go-to-market strategies that actually work. So we're going to bring you real stories, real tactics, and conversations that help you sell it, keep it, and grow it.
all right. Well, today inside the GTM Loop, we're going to talk about what growth really looks like. Forget that funnel nonsense and all of those graphics that we've all seen like this. Let's talk about how we can build a framework to help your teams really drive momentum and keep it going in a way that's sustainable.
Yeah,
Episode 1, folks. Let's go.
it's the first one. And it really speaks to like why we call this the GTM loop. Nothing is linear.
Exactly.
It's not linear. Sales is not linear. Your pipeline, yes, we're all going to have to use a CRM and track sales. So you need that. But just know that what we're going to discuss today, we really do believe you're going to take a step forward. You're going to take a step back. People are going to enter and exit your process. But then you have to think about how does one process lead right into the next one, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to, try to apply it to things that we've seen in real life. So
yes, sold, not sold, deals won, deals lost. I think that the one key element of it is thinking, yes, it's a loop. It also needs to be flexible so that as ebbs and flows come up, you're able to handle them without derailing everything that you've built.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be another element of it.
I agree. So let's talk about maybe a good place to begin is just talking a little bit about what the expectation is, and then applying it specifically to fintech.
Right.
So when you're if you are a fintech selling into a financial institution, there's a lot of things that you can do to prepare yourself to create a process that's going to work.
Yes.
And emotion. Angie,
Emotion. Yes.
let's talk about it. What is the difference between a sales motion and a sales process?
Okay. So this is one of my favorite things because most of the time when I talk about it, people don't understand it.
Right.
So it's thinking through your sales process are the steps and all of the different elements that your salespeople follow. And it's typically pretty set in stone and built for your business.
Yes.
Your sales motion is how your buyer, how your client actually buys your software.
Yes.
And a lot of times you're actually teaching them how to buy your own software. One of the biggest pitfalls that I see is sellers a lot of times assume that buyers know how to buy this.
Yes.
And they don't. Sometimes the first time going through it. So the idea of having a very strong and defined sales process that gives your team clear, repeatable steps and tactics that need to happen to move a deal from one stage to another.
Yeah.
While building out a sales motion that resonates with your buyer, that helps them to present and coach when you're not in the room, and that builds the know-how I think you need to teach them how to buy it, and also to predict. How do you forecast if you don't know what are the steps that your client is going to have to take to get approvals? So to me, a big thing that most people don't know when I start working with them is the process is one thing, your team follows that. The motion is a completely different thing that is tailored to your client, tailored to their sales cycle, tailored to the product they're buying, and often how big or how small the institution is.
Yeah. And one thing I see more often, especially when it's like a fintech that's really been founder-led sales, what I often see happen is they hire really great salespeople, but they forget to fully train them.
Yes.
Which then means you can't build a great sales motion, right? They can't impart the knowledge that then their new internal champion needs. So like step one for me is always making sure that everyone is well trained, that you do not need a founder or, someone from your tech team or your product team or whatever on those initial calls
to ride along.
Because that is not an efficient way to sell. And efficiency is the name of the game because these are complex and long sales cycles. So training your team, I cannot stress it enough. Like training your team like really sufficiently on the product is a big deal.
It is. And I think from what you just said, two things I just thought of is one is really thinking through how many people on the client side are on the call.
Yeah.
If you bring 35 people on your call, You're overwhelming the conversation and it makes it feel like you have a tiny company
Right.
and you brought everybody to give their 2 cents.
Yes.
So just make sure the training is happening at the level it needs to happen. And of course, bring a subject matter if you want to talk about something that has to do with compliance or
Sure.
tech, but don't bring the whole crew. They don't all need to ride along. It's only
No,
one.
no.
And the other thing I was thinking around just getting the calls structured and thinking through who you hire and how you train them is if you're going to be selling startup to fintechs, hire somebody who has startup experience. It's different to
Yes.
sell for a large organization. No ill intent by saying any of this, but if you worked at a giant organization that has a legal department and a deal desk and all those things like I have, when I was a seller at a large organization, I didn't have to do all the scrappy
Oh,
things I
yeah.
have to do at a startup.
Yeah.
So it's like thinking through who do I want to hire and are they going to be able to rise to the occasion of like trial by fire,
Yes.
hair on fire, running around and trying to get things done. So those would be my two like big takeaways, I think,
Oh, yeah.
through the topic as a whole.
Oh, yeah. Like when I think about like, okay, where are we starting? Yeah, you do. And that's the thing. Like you want someone who understands how to sell into a financial
Yeah.
institution. Absolutely. And there is so much
So
value in
much
that.
craft.
Exactly. So much craft. But there is a sort of scrappiness, grittiness that
Yeah.
comes from startup life that kind of only comes through experience.
Experience and you can't teach it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is you either like that or you don't.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
I've known great sellers that have had amazing careers that went into startup and felt like I hate this.
Yeah.
I don't want to use Slack. I don't want to be on a Mac. I don't want to do any of those things. And I think that's fine. That's
It's totally
should be
fine.
able to follow the career path that you want, but just go into it knowing that the folks that are coming in outside of startup life, they have a ramp up time as well, and identifying the fit.
Yes.
Are they a fit?
The other thing is when you're thinking about a sales team, Rolodex only gets you so far.
It's true.
I think
Yeah.
people forget that, yeah, I might know the right person, but guess what? It's not the right buying time for
Mhm.
them. They don't need this product,
Right.
right? They have a solution in place already. They don't have budget. I mean, there are so many factors. Yes, the warm intro gets you in the door, and that's wonderful. But at the same time, you do have to build a sales process
Process,
and motion,
motion,
no matter
and
who is leading your sales efforts.
pipeline, which is going to lead us to all the other segments of the GTM loop. But one thing that I always think about with making intros, I'm a connector person.
Me too.
You're a connector person. Like
Yes.
that's
This is how we end up together.
So great. But the thing that's always top of mind for me is if I don't have unlimited connections where I can just
Yes.
intro you to everybody in credit union or everybody in bank. If you as an advisor or as a professional in the industry, if you're constantly bringing opportunities and companies in front of your contacts, eventually they're going to stop listening to you.
Yeah.
And so it's understanding, yes, I can help with the deal if I know somebody, but if I don't know somebody, I'm also trying to break into that person, or I'm not going to introduce you to somebody that I know is not buying your product.
Oh, yeah.
That makes me look bad.
Yes.
And I don't like looking bad.
Exactly. Great. There was a hair flip if you're not
There was a
watching the
hair flip.
video.
I'm a good hair flipper. So are
Yeah,
you.
you are. We got it. Okay, you have like then made me think of something else. Knowing somebody does not make them a qualified lead.
There. Yes.
And this is the thing I want to talk about. How are you defining qualified leads? And
Exactly.
are they marketing qualified? Are they sales qualified? Really knowing what a qualified lead is. And if you're a consultant like us, understanding how your customer views qualified it's a big deal because
the
it
first
tells you
thing.
where you're starting.
Right. It's the first thing that you break into and understanding where they're coming from in the sense of what are you going to find in that pipeline?
Yes.
Because it's one thing to tell somebody a marketing qualified lead is something that stemmed from a marketing event or somebody who stumbled upon a marketing piece of content and reached out to you.
Yeah,
A sales qualified lead is something that you've already vetted and know could buy something. If every single thing in your pipeline is sales qualified, but we know you've never even had a meeting with them, what am I looking at here?
exactly.
And that informs how many things you can close in a quarter, how many things you can break into to build your 4 to 6x amount of pipeline.
Yes.
And you don't know all that stuff until you dig into the actual nuts and bolts of qualification and what's already been done.
Yeah. And so, I mean, this helps you. These types of things actually really help you define your ICP as well.
Yes.
So, what are we talking about? So, what is your ideal customer, right? Who are we trying to sell to? Um, and what are those characteristics that matter to you? Because sometimes I'll talk to someone, they're like, I don't care about asset size. That doesn't make a difference to me. Okay, great. Do you care if they're a credit union or a community bank? Do you care what core they're built on or who their digital banking provider is? Defining those things will also help you define what qualified means. So as you're thinking about this, I'm throwing a lot of jargon out here because people talk about these processes differently. I think it just depends on where they came from.
Where they came from and also where they want to start.
Yes.
So it brings up on the one you said, like, do you care about core or online banking provider? Maybe you're working with a partner.
Yeah.
So your initial start is going to be, I want to reach out to, for example, Fiserv Premier banks.
Yeah.
Because I have an integration into Fiserv Premier and I know that's going to make my life easier. That doesn't mean you're always going to stay there.
Right.
But if your goal is to get some traction in that space, in that segment, that's who you want to meet.
Yeah.
So your strategy could be built around that and then evolve as your partnerships evolve, as your market share evolves. And actually your ICP will change as a result of that.
Exactly.
As you grow.
And that brings us to one of our favorite things to tell people. Your ICP is going to change.
And
your strategies are going to change.
Yes.
So what do you never do? You never hard code your website. Because
makes me crazy.
You need to edit the website.
Yes.
The amount of times I've been at a startup and we're like, don't look at the website.
Right. Or actually actively not send people to the website because they're embarrassed of it a million times, including some places I've worked.
Same. I mean, really. Again, hard learned lessons here.
Do not do that. It's like, I'll send you to the LinkedIn for my company.
Yes.
Because it looks better.
You guys, like,
don't do that, please.
Just don't do it. It is a marketing tool. It is a sales tool.
Yes.
It's not another product.
No.
It's just not. And so you've got to be able to edit it. You got to be able to have lead generation pages.
Yes.
You're going to different events. You're going to meet different people. You're going to decide, oh my God, we have another vertical.
Yeah.
And how amazing is that? But if you can't put information out there for people to find you,
right,
you have a problem. So don't hard code your website because it's a great tool when utilized correctly.
Yes.
And it will, again, like we said, your ICP is going to change. The person you sell to might even change internally.
Yeah.
Like maybe you're starting with, I don't know, finance teams or something, but then you realize actually we need to be going through a procurement team,
right,
or we need to talk to marketing. You have to be able to speak to not just
to them,
the institution, but the person. Right. Yeah.
And I think that the big thing is when you do hard code your websites and then you need engineering resources to make changes, you're actually taking those really valuable hours away from the product development by having to either create some project or something that now they have to do for something simple like a website edit.
Yes.
That's a huge one. That drives me insane.
I know. And being a tech startup, as we assume most of our audience is, you gotta be nimble.
Right.
You have to let like your marketing team build a lead page. Like you just do,
Exactly. Or lead magnet that's seasonal or something that is driving people to visit you at an event. And the other part around it is thinking through making edits to it, but also how do you connect it into your CRM? And if it's hard coded, it's very difficult to track who's going. And the other thing I've found is typically when they're built like that hard coded, it means somebody technical wrote it.
Yeah.
And the language for most layman folk is difficult to understand. And if it reads like your API documentation, your buyer's not going to buy.
Yes.
They're not even going to understand.
Yes.
You want to lead with the outcome, the problem you solve, who do you solve it for, and iterate.
Yeah. And so that's another thing about the loop, getting feedback,
Mhm.
constant feedback. Listen. I always say the best salespeople listen
Yeah,
more than they talk.
more than they talk.
And so you have to hear, oh, that didn't resonate. That
Right.
was a little too technical, or, oh, that actually doesn't affect their daily life. So
Exactly.
as we talk about a loop, the feedback loop is
Hmm.
just as important because it will inform uh, edits you make to marketing copy,
Right.
sales language, and then even just all the assets you're going to have out there,
Exactly.
So
One pagers, lead magnets.
exactly.
And I feel like your client's words are the best messaging you're ever going to use or you're
Yes.
ever going to get. So use that. You're talking to them constantly.
Oh my gosh.
They're telling you what they want.
So my previous startup,
Hmm.
we had a three-sided marketplace.
Okay.
And one of the best feelings in the world. We used to internally say, oh, it's a win-win-win.
Hmm.
And the minute I
I love
knew
that.
we'd gotten our messaging right when people would be on the call and they go, oh, it's a win-win-win.
You're like, yes, yes,
And I
yes.
was like, ah, I told you. Like, it was just
Yeah.
people were saying it back to me,
That's
and
the
I
best
didn't
thing.
say it first.
Yeah, that's the best way to know that your product, your messaging, and what you're solving
Yep,
resonates with them is
exactly.
when they say it back to you unprovoked
Yep.
or when they remember. That happened
Yes.
to me this weekend. Somebody said to me, or this week at an event, somebody said to me, "Hey, that's what you do," in the middle of a presentation. And I was like, "Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Thank you.
Heck
Thank you for
yeah.
seeing me."
Yep.
Also, I think about the listening more than you talk, it's thinking through the pause.
Mm.
When you ask a question or you're giving an answer and you pause, one, to regain your thoughts, sometimes you need to formulate an answer. But also, if you can master the art of the pause,
Yes.
the person will tell you everything because they feel uncomfortable
Yeah.
and they will tell you everything. So, a lot of times, discovery that we're trying to do that requires a bunch of questions, they will tell you everything you need to know by simply pausing and letting them talk. That's what I found because I used to be very anxious, like,
Oh yeah.
I got to say something. And then I realized, no, you don't. You need to zip it. Just
Yeah.
sit back and relax.
I had I guess I had a coach who would always she would always say like count to three.
Yeah, in your
Just
head. Hmm.
it feels like forever for the other person, but it's
Right,
giving your brain something to do. You're just counting to three.
right,
And that's not that long actually, but it's enough for someone to feel like they need to jump in.
right,
Yeah, and you want to learn.
right.
Look,
And you don't want it to feel like an interrogation. If you have
yes.
7 questions to ask, you don't want to be like, tell me this one and tell me that one. You're writing all the things down.
Yeah.
Also, the note takers. I love the note takers.
Yes. Although have you hopped on any calls lately where you're like, oh,
There's
hello.
35 note takers. You're like,
Exactly.
hi.
Like, oh, what are you using? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
right.
nice.
Oh, can
Yeah.
you send me your transcript? Yours might be better. But I feel like it did help with trying to sit. Sometimes people would talk and you'd be taking the notes
Yes.
and not listening. And my big thing is looking at people's face. As you can see, I talk a lot with my hands
Oh,
and
yeah, me too.
I'm all about like the face. What are they saying? Are they
Yes.
getting my message? Are they listening to what I'm saying? If I'm heads down trying to take notes,
Yeah.
that's very difficult. So,
It is interesting because I feel like selling has changed so drastically since
mhm.
COVID, really.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I feel like we're at this point where things are kind of turning where people really want to be in person again,
Yes,
but you're still not
absolutely.
going to someone's office.
No,
It's events.
it's
It's
events.
events. And so that is something else you need to consider. You've got to go to conferences, you've got to host things. You are going to have to put in that effort to be in person
Yes.
because it builds trust faster.
Yes. And it builds a community within the community to try to break into.
Yes.
So if you're trying to sell to credit unions, don't go to bank events. Well, you could still go to bank
Yeah.
events, but you want to break into the market that you're targeting.
Yeah.
So if you want to break into credit unions, go to credit union events,
Yeah.
meet them, talk to them, speak to the people that are exhibiting there too. Other fintechs are often as helpful
Yeah.
as industry like publications and things like that. But other fintechs who've gone through the same issues as you or have had a hard time or have found success, oftentimes will share with each other.
Yes.
And I sometimes I see and feel a lot of resistance between, especially earlier stage. We're like, well, I don't want to talk to somebody that does the same thing as me because I don't want them to get picked over me.
Yeah.
And I mean, that obviously does happen.
Yeah,
We're
sure.
solving a lot of the same problems. There's a lot of competition, but most likely they've probably had a lot of the same issues as you did getting
Yes.
started. It's not like you're giving them all your IP.
No,
Chit chat. Like
exactly.
it makes such a difference. And I think interesting what you said about not visiting on site. I remember when I first started selling, I mean, if you couldn't get on site, it was like they weren't serious about you.
Yeah.
Now, 9 times out of 10, if I say I'm willing to come on site, people will say no because their teams are not all in one place.
Hmm.
Actually harder for them to bring them together.
Yep.
But if you're at an event and you're creating a dinner or you're creating just time, if you're speaking at an engagement, let's chat then. Let's have coffee. Let's get a cocktail,
Exactly.
whatever it is. So
And they're in the mood for it. They're in the mood to be sold to. They know they're at a
they know
conference.
that's what they're there for.
Exactly. So
Even though, yeah, that's
yeah,
what they're there for.
I know, take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Like really capitalize on it. Um, so there's those things, like things, those are some tactics and things to think about.
Right.
But I also want to talk about two other things. The follow-up that is
Yes.
required and what does customer service mean from
Absolutely.
day one? Because those are two things that it's like the training initially and like understanding what qualified is or what your
Yeah.
ICP is. I'd say that's like big, easy
Beginning
things like,
entry
yes,
point. You have to do those things.
you have to do those things. They're often sort of glossed over. Sometimes
Mhm.
they're not totally defined.
Right.
There's so much value in going niche, so much value in being very specific about who you're going after because it focuses you.
And crafting the message. If
And
you have 9 ICPs, folks, that's difficult to message to.
spatter shot approach drives me up the wall.
Yes.
Like, yeah, if we just get a BDR in there and they
There's
call
like
like
a bunch of
900 people, someone's gonna bite. Someone's gonna bite, but it's gonna be the wrong client.
Yeah, the wrong biter.
Yes,
You don't want the wrong biter.
I'm putting that on a pillow. You don't want, you don't
It's
want.
the wrong biter. Thoughts by me.
It's true though. But it's true. You will waste so much time and energy or someone over a client who's
Yeah.
gonna churn.
Yes.
Oh,
Or say things that are negative.
yes.
And they may not be negative as in like bad mouthing you, but they might say, "Oh yeah, we adopted the solution but didn't solve my problem."
Yep.
And it never would have because it wasn't the right fit.
No. And we've
So-
all been guilty of it. This is not, this
Of
is
course.
again, hard learned lessons over
Lessons.
on this side.
Yeah.
We've done it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you still find yourself doing it because,
Mhm.
gosh, you just want revenue.
Yeah.
You
Everybody
just
wants
want
revenue.
revenue, especially those early wins.
Right.
But going niche really makes people understand, like, oh, that's what they do.
Right.
And maybe that financial institution or fintech or whoever you're selling to isn't the right partner. But you know what they might do? They might talk to someone else and exactly what happened to Angie. Oh,
Yeah.
that's what you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the message was clear enough that they understand what you do. And if you have created such a narrow
Mm-hmm.
vision that only 5 people can adopt you, okay, that's not right.
Right.
But if you're really, you're solving a need.
Right. In a specific team or lending group or I
Yeah.
don't know, operating group of some kind, solve it for them, like really solve it for them and articulate it well.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like, I don't know if we want to get into this early in the podcast, but don't use words that don't make sense and don't. We're an AI company that solves for your innovative solutions that drive change and innovation. What? What is that? What does that mean? I don't even know what that means.
Oh,
I'm not getting vision lock from that.
no.
I hate that.
You know what we're gonna have to do? Podcast number 2, vision lock.
Yeah.
We got to talk about messaging.
No.
I want to talk about messaging on another podcast
Yeah,
because
let's not get down
that's
this
a
rabbit
whole
hole.
thing that we can go down
Right.
the path on. Okay, so we talked about kind of the start of things. Let's talk about why, like, again, like customer service and follow-up matters so much.
So much. Yeah.
Because I would say, okay, let's talk about follow-up.
Yes. Of all kinds.
Of all kinds. Let's talk about how many touch points do you think it takes on average to sell an FI? And this is a vague number, I will say for me. because
Is this to get into the FI or to get them from initial touch point to close?
ooh, let's say, now I'm going to go somewhere in the middle actually, from initial touch point to the right person.
12?
I think that's pretty good. I was going to say somewhere from like 12 to 15.
Yeah, right around there. It's trying to break in is a bunch of different touch points. And then, yeah, it's getting that funnel from one place to another, one team to another, one person to another.
And this is where motion matters.
It does.
Motion matters so hugely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's thinking through what do they want to hear? What do they need to hit? What is their process? What are the steps? Do they have the right kind of, I don't want to call it clout, but do they have the right,
Clout matters.
if they don't have influence, if maybe it's a great person, but they're brand new on the job.
Yeah.
They probably don't know everybody, and
No.
that's fine. They still will be completely willing to help you maybe a few months down the line.
Yes.
So that's the other piece is like how many touch points, and then sometimes how long does it take?
Yeah.
That can vary. And I feel like one of the things that I've always had like struggled with or have a hard time is why do some take 2 weeks to activate? Why do some take 2 years to activate?
I know.
Sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
A lot of times that happens.
A lot of times. I mean, this is the other thing. When you think about follow-up, it can't just be popping this up to the top of your inbox
Oh
or,
God, no.
ping.
Or just following up to
Yeah.
see how you're doing.
No, you got to bring value every time.
Yes.
And this is where when you've defined well, it's your ICP, but then it's the persona of the person that you're talking to, right? So who is this person? What do
Yeah.
they care about? That's when you can actually bring value.
Exactly.
Saw this article, thought
Thought
of
of
you.
you.
We have a new, there's things like putting people into newsletters and
Right.
saying like, hey, we know you're not ready. So we're going to put you on our newsletter so you can see product updates or service updates or whatever it is that you're selling. And so you can stay in the
On
know.
top of what we're doing.
Mhm.
You know what's really funny that you bring up newsletter because the last event that we did,
Mhm.
the head of partnerships that was speaking on our panel, Patty,
Mhm.
from Fifth Third, she said to me that a lot of times traction doesn't matter as in the sense that you're closing a bunch of deals or you're winning a bunch of logos.
Yeah.
Sometimes traction just means having the right mechanisms in place, whether you're clearly identifying your releases or whatever.
Mhm.
And she said a lot of times with companies that they are thinking about working with but haven't decided to yet, the newsletter is what she uses to determine what traction. So it's thinking what goes in your newsletter so that it's not just like a giant propaganda reel for how great you are. It's
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? What events are you going to? Who are you talking to? What
Yeah.
are some cool things that you read about? What are some things that are going on in the market that you're solving and you're writing thought leadership articles about? That stuff all matters as much, maybe not more, but definitely as much in the right hands
Mhm.
for how you're getting traction.
Yes.
It's how you're learning. It's how you're interacting with the industry.
Yep. Okay. So we've talked about follow-up. Now let's talk about customer service.
Big one.
Because oftentimes what I have seen is all of a sudden a salesperson who's a hunter now has to be a farmer
Yeah.
and be customer service, which makes no sense.
None whatsoever.
I'm sorry. It is a way to demotivate and ruin momentum immediately when you do that.
On both sides.
On both sides. Yes. So, all right, let's dig into this. What have you seen? What do you think about this?
Yeah, so I think a lot of times, especially as sellers, especially if it's a very like hunter type of person, like my idea has always been like once I close the deal, I'm out of the loop.
Yep.
Because I want to move on to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very specific type of person, and that's fine. If I would die in a customer success role because I just don't appreciate that, but I appreciate what they do.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes it's thinking through closing the deal is not the end of the line. And I think
Yes.
a lot of teams think that is like, oh, I got this great new logo. And you're like, great, now you got to go build the thing.
Yeah, now you actually have to make
Do
revenue
the
off of
work.
it. Yeah.
And make sure that you're making that launch, that process so successful
Mhm.
that it solves a problem. You're able to use them as a reference. Referenceability kills your product if you don't have it.
Yes.
Especially breaking into your early client adoption is thinking through, are there other banks like me? Are there other credit unions like me that you've worked with?
Yes.
That referenceability is social proof. That's like when you think about social proof, that's who you want to get it from. So it's thinking through, you're closing the deal, how quickly can you get them started, kicked off? And then you have a person that's dedicated to customer success, customer service that can do things like all of the updates that are needed as the process gets built out.
Yep.
What does the implementation plan look like? Do they need
Yes.
training for their team to adopt the product?
Yep.
Nobody wants to sit in a queue waiting to release something, just as much as nobody on the banking side wants to roll something out that their internal teams hate, that their members or their clients hate. They all want it all needs to work together, and you need a strong glue person that
Yes.
does that kind of work.
I agree. I think you can't assume that the financial institution knows how to implement
Right.
your product, your service.
Exactly.
I think this is a piece that often both sides kind of forget about.
Mhm.
Like this isn't just all on you, the fintech. Like
No.
this happens on
It's a
both sides.
partnership.
It's a partnership. Exactly. And partnerships are two-way
Two
streets.
ways.
Yep. So, I think it's just
It's calling it out.
I know. And so be prepared for that. Like they're going to ask you for marketing help.
Yes. Yes.
They're going to
Have
ask you
marketing
for
kit ready.
comms, PR. Like
Yeah.
you've got to be ready to lead this
This process.
I once was somewhere where they were like, I was like, have we talked to client X? And the person who kind of created the relationship before was like, oh, they don't want to talk. And I go,
What?
what? And I was like, we gotten on a plane to go see them yet?
Right.
And I just remember being told that oh no, they want us, they just kind of want to run with it. And I'm like,
You never want them to run with it on their own.
no.
Never.
They always, whether they seem uninterested or whatever, maybe they're just busy. Like maybe they
Yeah.
just whatever. You got to put in the effort to make sure that they are promoting what you do, that they are pushing it, whatever, that they're
Yes.
launching
That
it.
they're
Jeez.
advocating for it. That
Yeah.
they're launching it.
That
That's
they're
a
launching
big
it.
one.
Just freaking full stop. Are they
Yes.
launching it?
Especially when it's pricing mechanisms in your startup that have to do with usage and consumption.
Oh my gosh.
If you thought they were going to use X number of API pings or whatever it is that you're charging for per user per month, and you're not helping your client to get usage of that product, not only are you not going to get paid, it's also not going to be successful.
No.
And your model is going to break.
And then you're not learning like what are their customers liking about it?
Exactly.
Or what are they not liking? Like maybe there's a reason usage isn't up. But if
Right.
you are not communicating and you don't have someone whose job it is to
communicate that,
pull this information out of them, you are missing the boat.
So,
Oh my gosh.
and it's also, it needs to be somebody qualified to do that role. I hear a lot of times, we're just going to have our so-and-so take care of it. And you're like, so-and-so doesn't know how to do that.
No.
It's no knock to them, but they weren't trained to be a customer success person. They may or may not succeed at that role.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I would fail miserably at that role.
We need to bring on our friend Jaime to talk about this.
We do.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're going to tell him he's coming on the podcast.
I think we just did. We just told him. Well, maybe if he's listening. If he's not, then he has no idea.
Take a shout out. But okay, let's close the loop on this episode, huh? Let's close the loop. So, what did we talk about today? We talked about everything from defining your ICP, creating personas, what does it mean to be a qualified lead?
Yes.
All the way through to customer success, follow-ups.
Using your last customer to be a reference or to be a
Yes.
validator of some kind. So
Exactly.
using marketing and PR to close the loop.
And to make a stronger sales motion for the next customer.
For the next
To
time.
improve your sales process for the next customer.
That's right.
All of this, we say it's a loop because it just keeps improving if you're using it right.
That's right.
Well, join us on the next one. We'll take you around the loop on another fun topic for going to market.
Maybe we'll get into buzzwords next one.
Ooh, that's always fun. All right.
All right.
See you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.